be in this because this hasn't gone onto the right goddamn stream. So apologies for everyone that jumped into the live. But I'm back. Anyway. Issues with orientation and phone not doing what I wanted it to do. Trying to avoid crisis. Anyway. Get down to today's order of business. So let's have a quick gander. What we're doing then for today. I'm hoping, because this is a lot shorter, that we'll be able to get this done in this session, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Apologies for the initial technical difficulties. It was me, so it was bound to happen. So as before, purpose for today is just to block out the NMM for the tail. If you caught the last stream, we finished, I say we, that's a lie. We started doing the shoulder pull drum, did the teeth and eyes, so just got that finished on for about another 30 minutes after the stream ended, because I didn't figure that you'd want to all sit here and have a look at me doing this for so long. But yeah, we're back. So just going to stick with the original concept, starting with Parasite Brown down, and we're just going to build it out. As we go. It's quite difficult to see, actually. I think the camera's trying to focus on the wings. I'll get used to this eventually. I say eventually, I probably won't. But yeah, it's the same principle. Just going to pick out, obviously, what is the highest point based on the object light source. So obviously for the bits on the belt, it's obviously going to be everything on this side, and this side obviously is going to be shaded in the same principle. But I'm hoping, because this is such a finite kind of piece, it's going to be something that we'll be able to cover off relatively quickly. I'd say that it's probably not going to end up going that way, but God. Oh, again, that. Now, I did have it in two minds as to which way to do this when I was fettling. I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted the light to be on the left part of the tail. Oh God, we're in trouble. Frankie's in the chat now. Hi, Frankie. I know a couple of Frankies. One of them's very well behaved. The other one's not. How's everything going with you, Frankie? Right, so I'm hoping if I can bring the scrofulous brown in, this will start to get a bit easier on the eyes. So I'm conscious that you probably struggling to see this a little bit. Cheers, Frankie, appreciated. So apologies for the initial technical difficulties. For some reason, it wanted to set up as a vertical stream rather than horizontal. So apologies for anyone that got a bit confused, or as confused as I was when this whole thing started. We'll get there. We'll get there. So generally what I'm going to go for is anything to the right of this ridge down the tail is going to stay dark. Again, we just use the same colour principle. Colour principle on this side, just to kind of brighten this up a little bit. So I'm probably going to go something like just keep the tones quite dull. Keep it watered down, it won't make too much of a difference. Then hopefully for consistency it will match the other side. Again, no, it's all objective. It's only the second time I've done this properly, so if anyone's got any recommendations to make my life easier, that'd be appreciated. You just have to let me know in the chat if the focus starts playing up again. I'm hoping because I took the stuff away from the background, it's not going to be as much of a problem today. I could be completely wrong. But let me know if it starts to mess around. So I'm quite conscious as well, the contrast seems to be quite high. Try and drop the light source down just a touch. just to see how that looks, because the backsplash has got a little bit of a glare on it. I think that's okay. Same principles as before, obviously just watching consistency. Just watching we don't oversaturate shadow pieces. I think that's starting to come along. So, how much further do I really want to push the contrast? I don't need to push it much further, I don't think. The main reason being, obviously, because it's behind the tail, it's not going to catch a great deal of light, but obviously there's got to be consistency with where it is. And as well, I'm conscious that trying to do this right underneath the tail is quite awkward. So it's not the easiest thing to reach. Then again, I glued the arm on myself, so I've only got myself to blame. So coming on, just need to just build up the contrast in the highlights. So with that white started, just going to start introducing the ice yellow. So ice yellow is used incredibly sparingly because it's going to jump up quite a lot. I don't necessarily want to extend it the whole way. I apologise for some of the angles, because some of the stuff I'm going to do for the benefit of the camera, and some of the stuff obviously is going to be my own benefit. So apologies if it jumps out of focus briefly. It's not intended to affect the viewing, but obviously it will. So yeah, a bit of a long one on this one. I've made it a bit more complicated than it needed to be. I think the wings are about 6 hours to get these to here. Again, it's all relative, I guess. Obviously I could have done it in true metallic metal, but where's the challenge in that? Make life difficult for myself. It's all part of the fun, innit? Now, as I touched on in the last stream, obviously you can make this a lot more complicated. I say complicated, depends how bold you want to be. You could just jump in with the ice yellow. I generally don't. I much prefer building up the gradients and just gradually introducing the light and texture. But again, it's what you're comfortable with at the end of the day. If I jump too much, I'm worried that I'm going to mess it up. So again, if I can get through this, general expectation is that the knees, these pads, all the rivets, same down here, joints across the legs, and then all of the trim detail around the arm will all follow suit. So still sticking with mahogany brown as the base coat, parasite brown as the kind of lead colour to start lightening it up, then slowly building up scrofulous brown till you get a decent coverage, and then finishing it off with a shot of ice yellow. Again, just introducing the ice yellow until it's neat, I guess. Again, it's just a steady work in progress. So we've got something. It might be a case that I'll overdo the ice yellow, and I'll just need to knock it back a little bit, which is easy enough to. It's easy enough to do. It's just building up that gradual transition until we got something that we're happy with. I probably will end up over fettling this and then completely wrecking it, but never try, never know. And again, conscious of just focusing on what is effectively first OSL. You've then obviously got to bear in mind what would be your secondary highlights. So any of these ridges in here that are going to catch kind of the highlights across the edge are going to inherit some of those reflections at the base. Don't need to, you know, fettle that too much, but it's obviously just something to be aware of. Again, if you're doing non-metallic metal, you don't do true metallic metal. You don't need to give this two thoughts, to be honest. But again, I'm just conscious of including that port. So Again, it's a steady work in progress. Ended up doing a couple of videos for myself, just going through this just to try and drag myself out of the bad phase, because every model goes through that phase where it just doesn't look right. And I think when the skin doesn't look right, the wings don't have the finished textures and tones. It all just looks a bit haphazard and just untidy, and it is difficult to kind of see past it for what it could be. But you know, it's important you try and push through that, because you know, it does get better. So I'm just going to wet blend that back because that's just a bit too bright. Again, anything that I do up here, I was just trying to replicate the same kind of light tone all the way down. Again, it probably would be easier if I didn't fix the wings on, because I could just get a straight shot straight at the back. But I put the wings on. It's one of them. I did try to magnetize the wings and it just didn't work out. So yeah, you know, you try, you fail, try again. So I might leave that just to dry a little bit if I start on this side. So I don't want to do too much on this side. I don't need to do too much. So the main source of light on this bit is just going to be, that's too bright, far too bright. Try and knock the contrast down just a bit. And again, as we're going through, we're just going to try and keep the consistency in the light tone. So like these pieces around the back, anything that's this kind of tone as it finishes will have the same kind of tone on it. Obviously don't want to make it as bright as this side, because obviously that's not naturally where the light's going to fall. As long as we've got that distinction between the two. That's the main priority. And obviously the last thing we'll do is introduce some kind of weathering and damage to these pieces as we go, just to bring it all together. But again, we've got a little bit of a way to go till we get to that. So having put the ice yellow in, I think the gradient is a bit too much of a jump. So I'm just going to reintroduce kind of some of these softer brown tones. And do I think it's too focused? I'm not too sure. And when I say, is it too focused, is there enough light reflection on these pieces? I don't think it necessarily needs to go too much brighter. Obviously it will, but we'll see where we go. I suppose the beauty is whenever we're glazing, because the layers are so thin, one, they dry pretty quickly, but equally, oh, is it coming through clear enough? Cheers, Andy. As long as it's clear enough. I was a little concerned that the backdrop had a little bit of glare on it, but as long as it's clear when you're looking, that's the main thing, I guess. At least if nothing else, I'm doing one thing right. Clearer than the last stream, I guess. The last one was a little bit all over the place. Well, starting somewhere. It's a bit of a balance, because I don't want to make it too hot in here that I start to cook, but equally if it's not warm enough, it obviously won't help the drying. And ideally I'd like to be able to finish this whilst I'm doing this today. We'll see how far we get. We're halfway. So my concern is needing to darken this bit a bit more, but I think once the ice yellow starts going in, it'll I think it's going to ramp up pretty quickly. I'm just a little concerned for pushing the ice yellow too much, because it can look scratchy. If you're wondering, all of these bits are going to be done last, because I end up putting my finger on certain parts to support it as I'm painting. So if you're wondering, that's why they're not finished. Yeah, I think we're getting there slowly. As I said, the more that we do this, the more it reinforces the highlights. It's just making a bit of an informed decision on the light placement. So then it's either going to be really easy on such a big surface, or because it's such a big surface, it makes all the mistakes more prominent. So the one thing that I've been worried about consistently on this is whether the skin colour is right. I've seen a lot of these done really well, but I can't recall seeing one painted like this. There might be a reason for that. We'll see how we do. That's it, we've got a little bit of time still. To push this, so I think if that bit's drying, I'll come over and I'll do this bit. Again, conscious, anything that's upward facing or right hand facing obviously is going to be picked out, and effectively everything from the middle down will be treated differently. I suppose for myself it's the confidence of knowing when to say enough is enough, or trusting that it's enough. We'll see. So now I'm not sure if this is meant to be an eye in the middle. I think it is, but yeah, I don't know. I'll do it as a night. It's fine. But yeah, again, it's just making little decisions like that that just commits to making the process harder. But we're doing it. To be honest, I'm getting a bit sick of looking at this piece. I've put this piece off for far too long. So I built this in sub-assemblies. So that's why I know this has been coming. And I obviously need to commit to doing it. But it'd have been so much easier if I'd have just done true metallic. Again, just consistency wise, I'm just going for glazing. Try not to go too thick. And generally always clean. You can clean up. And again, bearing in mind that wherever you leave, wherever the brush stroke ends, is where it's going to deposit the pigment. So if you brush in a particular direction, because the brush touches here last, the pigment will collect at the base. We're getting there. We can start to see where we're going. Ish. Apologies that the wings are so bright. If I'd have done them black, then, you know, probably wouldn't have mattered too much, to be honest. So I think we're finally getting to that point where it's saturated enough that it's starting to look cohesive. It obviously just takes a bit of time and work just to get it to that point, unfortunately. Again, just trying to help it dry. Yeah, we're getting there. So I was a bit apprehensive starting this piece, but yeah, if you're going to get into chaos, you're bound to run into one of these eventually. What you do with it, well, is as complicated as you want to make it. I'll just try not to punch the stand. Yeah, getting there slowly. Might have been a bit ambitious to think that I was going to finish the whole piece, but you can dream. So oddly enough, this side is going to be dark, this side is going to be light, whereas the part of the tail, this is the lighter bit, but I mean, that's what I understand kind of the light behaviour would be. I think I could be chatting nonsense, but I think that's about right. I'm hoping it makes a lot of difference. I'm not going to touch the skulls or anything until probably dead last, just because I end up resting my thumb on these quite a lot. So there's no point painting them to rub all the paint off. Now, I mean, in my mind, the light's going to refract down and away, hence why I'm shading them up. So please, if anyone else is doing NMM that knows more than I do, please let me know. Because I've only got myself to blame if it's wrong. it's starting to come along. Yeah, get in there. Yeah, I'm still undecided how deep the toe needs to go on this side, but yeah, we'll try and push it through. Yeah, I think that's probably as bright as I want it to go at the top end. So I don't think there's a great deal more that I want to do as part of that highlight. I like the definition enough, but it's just what I do with the ridges, whether I need to define them more. I'm going to say I do. If I take them up, it turns out that it's too bright. I can always bring it back down. Again, the other benefit of not taking the colour definition up too high is that it doesn't take a lot to bring it back down. And if I just kind of compare it to what it could go up to. Obviously, don't want to take it any brighter than this is. You can see we're starting to get close to that colour. So, won't take it any brighter, but yeah, see how we do. As I said before, I generally try and avoid using white for highlighting, just because of the saturation. A little bit is okay, but too much really takes the tone away. So that's probably as far as I want to take that for punch. Punch in a couple of highlights just around the seam. Just start to see where this is going. I think what I will do, just for added effect, is I will run a crease straight down the back. Cheers, Andy, appreciate it. So I'll try and hold this as best as I can, but just see what we're going for here now. So probably is about as high as I want to take the highlight on the other side. I'm not even going to get into how I'm going to paint the bloody buckles underneath here, but I'm going to have to. Again, this whole tail section is completely separate. I could have just left this off, but I left it on. Well, I say I left it on, I stuck it on. So, yeah, anyway. I'll leave that to dry a second, I'll come back to that. And again, this is still the same brush as I've been using throughout. So this is a 7. So you, again, don't have to go small. Obviously you can, but the smaller you go, the more you end up having to refill the brush. It's not always ideal. Again, not too bothered about getting too much texturing because it's only a small surface, but I suppose if we could, we should. Yeah, you just start to see that even in this part, we're going for a 50-50 split. Ironically, one of the things I'm looking forward to the base is painting the base. Again, it'd just been nice if I'd thought about trying to do the base separate, but it's stuck together now, so it is what it is. Now, because this piece is a lot smaller, we can get away with slightly bigger variations in colour jumps. We don't have to build the same kind of balance when we are going through the gradients. To be fair, I quite like it. I can't leave it like that, obviously, but I do like it like that. Again, I'm not looking forward to having to paint these knee plates because they are, they're going to be a faff. They really are going to be a faff. Oh, and here's me wondering why it looks a bit darker. One of my lights has gone off. Why's that gone off? No, it's gonna on, off. Well, that's a nice, reliable light. I've got one light source anyway. So what I'll do for this thing is I'll put in probably a final highlight piece. Here. Again, whether you come back or not, this will probably obviously look different next time you see it. But principle applies. So the higher we go with the highlights, the more we'll stipple the textures in. Obviously, because that's more of the final product. So, yeah, a little bit closer. So that's probably about as much. So I think that's whereabouts I need it to be for this one. I don't know how much brighter I want to go on this side, but probably not too much. So I don't think this is going to take more than probably another 20 or 30 minutes just to finish off the tailpiece. With regards to what I pick up next, it's probably going to be the arms. Just start filling in some of the detail bits. And then other than that, it's going to be just getting rid of the rest of the gold trim. So knees need to be done. The little ringlets on the fingers going to need to be done. And then intermittently across the wings, there are these little rivets, or I don't know what you want to call these. These are going to have to be gold. So that'll be fun. Again, it shouldn't take too long, but thank you ever so much for everyone that dialed in. Apologies for the technical difficulties to start with. But yeah, here we are. And if I don't catch you again, I'll catch you on Friday, if not before. Cheers, guys.